Alright, so we just got a new order of stuff from Premier One Supplies, and I really like their stuff. So right here we have, let's see, fence tester, some connectors. Heavy. So it's fragile, gotta be careful. And then we also have new energizer, solar energizer. This is the solar panel right here. So there's that. We have two other big boxes. Let's open the biggest one next. Alright, this one's pretty long. I think I know what it is. This is our taller netting we're gonna try for our goats. So it goes all the way up here. So that's one of those. We have another. Because I've been wanting to work on some type of grazing system with our goats. However, the regular netting that we use for the chickens and ducks is lower, and they just like to hurdle over that. So right now we've been working with them in an area that we have where the fence is just doubled up, and they haven't tried to test that yet. So what do we got here for box number 3? Dun, dun, dun. Box number 3 is, we got some extra poles, post, and I'll explain what we plan to do with that here in a little bit. And we also have right here, oh, another fence. But this one right here is just a fence. Another one for netting for the chickens. So we actually have some chickens that we're going to be setting up in a new area. We're going to be using that fence as well as this energizer. So let's do that first. Good lift. Good lift. Alrighty. So down here by the pond, we have our ducks set up. But we also have a flock of chickens that we've had with some of our ducks. So we're gonna get the chickens a new area, separate them from the ducks. Not that we've had any issues. I just like to, since we let the ducks free range on the pond, I'm just gonna get them separated because we don't let the chickens free range on the pond. So we like to make sure that they stay on grass and move them from time to time. So right now we're gonna set the chickens up. Hey Josiah, we're gonna set them up right here in this area where some grass is with this new fencing, this new netting that we got from Premier One. Let's get it set up.
Need any help?
Sure, I'll take some help.
Push it in?
Yep. Yep.
You said chickens aren't smart. You're like...
So I like a number of things about the Premier One netting fences that they offer. And one of the things that I like about this particular one is the double spikes. And I've used the single spikes before, but the double spike makes it so much easier to push it into the ground instead of just pressing one down, which can be challenging sometimes with our clay soil here. But having this bar to step on just really helps to push it in even better. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna let this fence down and then encourage them to come on over and move the chickshaw over as well.
Man, this one's like a foot higher. See?
So I've been using this chickshaw now for a number of months, and I must say it's by far the best one that we've used here on my homestead. We've constructed a number of other different ones, and this one's actually one that we've remodeled to be more like the one Justin Rhodes has, and it works beautifully for us. Easy to move, and does really well with housing the chickens. And let's see if they're sitting on any eggs. Yep, they're in here in the nesting box. Oh, we have a duck. You're not supposed to be over here. You like this nesting box? It's all right. We'll get it later.
Yeah, Penelope likes those nesting boxes.
Is that who that duck is, Penelope?
Yep.
Alrighty. So next we're just gonna go ahead and put this fence back up so the ducks stay over there. All of them are over here except Penelope. So let's put this fence back up. So next I'm gonna go ahead and take up this end of the white new fence that we got and pull it and connect it over to itself. So that way they're completely separate. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, it says remove this label, attach this wire to the negative terminal. Alrighty. So here we go. Do this. Take that out. There we go. Alrighty, here's our ground rod here. Get that in there in a minute. Don't stab myself in the leg. Sun's going this way mostly. And we got our other bag here. Instructions. This is our charger. We need to charge the battery. We'll just keep that there. There's the ground one. Get our hot wire here. Alrighty, then we're going to do the same thing here for our ground wire. Connect our ground. Connect our fence here. So right here is the clamp. That's where I usually prefer to go. And then we're going to turn it on. And hit green. And still. And it is hot. You can hear it. That's good. So the battery comes ready to go. Everything's pretty much ready to go. Just got to connect it together and then roll with it. Another thing I like about this one right here, which is very different than our other ones that we use, is it has a port here where you can plug it up to just plug it right into the wall. So that's pretty neat. So not only is it solar power, it can also be plugged in to your electrical outlet. Alright, so next we're going to install these posts here on an existing fence that we already have set up. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's not a Premier 1 fence. And the posts are just not as good as the Premier 1. And primarily, one of the things that's really not as good is the double spikes that I just mentioned earlier. So Sayla, if you could go ahead and unplug, disconnect this fence from, so we won't get shocked, and I'll point out what the difference is with these posts. All right, now that she's got the fence off, oh, just kidding, she turned it off. All right, well, this post here is on this existing fence. It does have a double spike. However, it moves, so it wobbles. And then sometimes it's like hard to get it into the ground when it's like that. So you can see it kind of just folds on you when you're trying to put it in. But this double spike, like you saw earlier, just goes in so much easier because the whole thing is metal and it doesn't have this rubber part at the top. So it is what it is. And another thing is, this fence also didn't come with enough spike posts in between. So you get sags in here, and we were using these posts temporarily to hold up the sags. So we're going to be putting these in between to replace these as well. So we'll have a lot more of these posts that I really like. Now the netting here is pretty good. It's a decent netting, but the posts just aren't good. That one, the main ones need to be replaced, and then we also need to add some in between. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to start. We'll go ahead and take this yellow ones off. And then put in our Premier one right in its place. There we go, like that. Bam. So regretfully, as I'm going through this, the only way that I can get this last part off, the main post from it, the last string, which is not electrified, is cutting it. Wish I didn't have to do that, but I couldn't find any other way outside of trying to break this piece, and I said, no, we're not gonna do that. So we're just taking it out like that, and then the top, mostly comes out easy, which that line is electrified. Actually, all the horizontal ones, except for the black one at the bottom, is electrified. So we'll pull this out here, and then we'll come through, weaving our new post in here just like that. Whoop, 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 whoop. Push that one through like that once we get it to the bottom, and then double spike there holds that bottom strand, and then right on the top we go. Alright, so on my last pole here, and you can definitely see the difference that it makes when I weave it through versus when I don't. Definitely makes the fence tighter weaving it through. Those posts just hang onto that fence even better. And then bang. And just look how much cleaner it looks all through the fence. Big time difference. So a number of weeks ago, we brought these chickens into this area, and they've done an excellent job with just cleaning it out. So these are our compost chickens, but they also produce eggs for us. Those are other chickens that we moved earlier. Those are our egg layers too. But we just keep bringing stuff in here for them, materials, organic matter, and they just make good quality compost for us. So my coworker's helping me out. So we bring things like pine shavings from the brooder, which they accidentally moved them too far out of the fence, so we have to put it back in here and set it back up. I actually had the compost pile wired up in here, but somehow they got it out. So we need to put the compost back in here so they can work on it like they're supposed to. Whew. All right, so I got all that raked up into a pile, and stuff that had spewed out of the fence, or had been knocked out of the fence by the chickens, I should say, have that raked into the pile as well. Now all that was together in a food scrap compost bin that we were using for a while that was from this chicken wire here, and gradually we would just add food scraps and various things to it, and it would just break down. As you can see, there's not any food scraps, visible ones remaining, but somehow or another the chickens managed to just knock it over completely. So looks like this isn't going to work anymore if we're in here with them, so we're gonna have to do something different. So what I'm thinking is, I have some cedar trees over here that I had dropped not too long ago, and I think they would work really well for just containing the compost. I'll move it over here and they can just kind of scratch away, and since our property is on a slope and we don't have a retaining wall to hold in, it all just kind of gradually starts going down this way. So putting these cedar posts here, these cedar logs, should help keep it in. And we already have a little bit over here already, as you can see, and they're scratching already and working on it. So it's already working, so we're just gonna add some more to it, and they can just keep working away and scratching and digging and doing the things that they do, find all the little things that they like to eat, whatever it is. I can't see it, but they can find it. All right, so that pile looks like it has a lot of pine shavings in it, so I want to add a little bit more variety to it just to make the pile even better. So right here we have some other soil, compost, that they have matted down over time, so we're gonna kind of blend this up. We're gonna use a mini cultivator, blend it up, and transport it over there and mix it in with the mostly pine shavings. Actually has some chicken feathers and some other stuff in it as well, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff that you probably don't want to know about. And speaking of blending up the soil, that brings something to mind that I want to share with you guys who don't have a lot of pasture, greenery area to move your chickens or your ducks onto, and you have to maybe keep them in an area for a long period of time. I really suggest putting things like compost, leaf compost, mulch in those areas to keep them more sanitary, for the area to provide a healthier environment, so that way your birds are healthier. And from time to time you can go in and kind of stir that up, so that way the poop that's on top kind of gets mixed in. They'll mix it in too. As you can see here, they're scratching in, and as they're scratching and eating, they poop along the way, and then they hopefully scratch and blend all that up. But then there's sometimes where the ground does get harder from rain and just compaction of them walking on it, but you want to blend that up, so that way that poop, that manure, goes down into the soil and mixes in, and it's not just sitting there right on the top of the surface. So that's one of the things that I do here with our compost chickens. Check out this stuff right here. It looks great. Alrighty, so that gives them a nice pile to play in here, and hopefully contains it a lot better with our cedar logs here. Maybe we can raise it up some more. But I just came up with an idea. We still have a little bit left of the pine shavings, and I'm thinking I still want to have just a little food scrap bin to put in, to take our food scraps to, that hopefully the chickens will leave alone. But you remember the post that we took out of the fence earlier, not too long ago? Let's see if I can recycle some of those to hold up our chicken wire better. That way we can have a food scrap area. Let's try it out. Alrighty, not the prettiest thing in the world, but it should do its job. And it's also out of the chicken fence, so they shouldn't knock it over either. So let's go ahead and add some stuff to it. And I bet some of you wonder from time to time, why in the world do I do all this work? Why do I do this with the compost? Why do I do this with the chickens? Well, it's important to me. It's important that I have this connection with the creation, with the animals, with the plants and the earth, and that we grow things and that we're connected to where our food comes from. And as you're working with it, with everything, you begin to see certain patterns and things that work. Like instead of just pouring chemical fertilizers and all this other stuff on our plants, why not work within the patterns that are already set here, that are designed here? And one of the things that we did last year is we tried to grow food over here where the high tunnel is. There wasn't a high tunnel there before. It was just fresh soil, clay, a lot of heavy clay, nothing like you just saw right there with the compost that the chickens are working on. And we tried to grow stuff there, and then we had no real success at all. However, over the winter time, we brought the chickens in and we brought the heavy leaf compost and was just adding to it and giving it love, and then now it's producing like crazy in there. And that's just from one season of just giving to it and giving back and working with the animals. Think about what could be done doing that year after year. Next year is we're coming up on, we won't be growing things in our garden as far as working a garden, because I'll be keeping the land Sabbath. I know some people may think that's just some crazy mindless ritual thing that you don't have to do anymore. I disagree. I think that everything that God asked us to do, He asked us to do for our good, because He's a God of love. And keeping the land Sabbath, reading about it, especially Exodus 23:11, and it talks about keeping it and what produces from it. You give to the poor and you give to the beasts of the field, your animals. So I want my animals to benefit from everything that I'm doing here. So thinking about bringing them out of this area, compost area, and they just get to have next year whatever produces in the garden. I look forward to doing that because I've never done it before, but I know that it will produce good because He said so. Well, I'm gonna call it a day, at least half a day right now. It's halfway through today, the humidity's up there, and I need to get inside and I need to finish my talk. Will be a speaker at the Homesteading Life Conference in Hannibal, Missouri. So one of the things I'm gonna be talking about is raising chickens and ducks for food for you and for your family. Talking about how to raise them for egg production as well as meat production. So if you can be there, we'd love to see you there. And for those of you who already got your tickets, look forward to seeing you. Well, gotta go. See you next time.